Chicago Bears Now is presented by Manscaped. Football season's halfway over. You don't want to halfway shave your balls. Go to manscaped.com and use promo code BEARS20. That's going to get you 20% off plus free shipping for the Lawnmower 4.0 and all of their great men's grooming products. Go check them out, manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. All right, let's take a look at some Bears free agent targets now that the NFL trade deadline is in the books. We know Ryan Poles is an opportunistic GM. He's kind of proven to be that early on in his tenure here. And there's some names out there that could intrigue you guys. So we're going to take a look at some players to monitor here. Could the Bears sign a player or two? Are more moves coming? We know practice squad shuffling has been happening all year, but maybe, just maybe, there's a move that could impact the 53-man roster, especially to help replace a guy like Roquan Smith. A few linebackers on this list of note. All right, let's start things off with Sidney Jones, the Seahawks cornerback that got released this week. Sidney Jones, a guy who's had success in the National Football League at the cornerback position, and for whatever reason just kind of fell out of favor in Seattle. I know as of late he hasn't been that great, only got to play in 3 games this season and had just 5 tackles, but he's had years in the past where he's been pretty good. I mean, he had back-to-back 2 interception seasons in 2019 and in 2020. He's been kind of a CB2 type in the past for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, when it comes to a team like the Bears, you know, you think about what their cornerback room looks like with Jalen Johnson, Kendall Vilder, and Kyler Gordon. So does Sidney Jones have a path to playing time for this football team? I don't know, but we always know that Ryan Poles is looking to improve things, so I wouldn't rule anything out. He actually technically hits the waiver wires today, this afternoon on Thursday. So if you're watching this after Thursday and you're like, you already signed elsewhere, well, that could end up being the case. I do think he'd probably just be CB4 here. Is he better than Jalen Jones? Probably. Is he going to give you special teams impact that a Jalen Jones or a Josh Blackwell would? Probably not. So I don't think the Bears would be a team that pounces here. But, again, Ryan Poles is always looking to improve this team. How about Odell Beckham Jr.? Now, obviously the Bears don't necessarily fit the bill right now for what OBJ will likely do. This is obviously a long shot because all the chatter is going to be is once he's fully healthy, he is going to sign with a contender. But recent reports saying he may not be able to play until early mid-December. Well, let's take a look at the next Bears kind of stretch of games here, the next 5 games. Let's just say Chicago beats the Dolphins on Sunday. I get it. The Dolphins are favored. They're a better team, but you're at home. There's some energy and some rhythm going right now offensively. Chase Claypool's in the mix. Maybe he gets involved. I don't think it's crazy to say that the Bears could win on Sunday at home against the Dolphins. I wouldn't, bank on it, but I think it's possible. Then Detroit comes to town. Let's say you win that one. So you're 5-5, beat the Dolphins. At the Falcons, at the Jets, those 2 teams are better than we thought they were, but it's not like those are insurmountable opportunities. Like the Jets are a mess offensively, lost Breece Hall for the year. Atlanta is still just an overachieving team that lacks talent in a lot of key areas. Packers at home all of a sudden feels like a winnable game here in about a month. There's some winnable games coming up is my point. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Bears are going to be major contenders, but what if the Bears go 3-2, 4-1 and are in the NFC playoff picture and Odell Beckham's like, all right, I like what I see from Justin Fields. I'll build some chemistry with him, and maybe he's a guy that it comes here long term. Again, it's a long shot. I wouldn't bank on it. But my point is maybe the Bears are in a better position in 4 weeks than we think they could be, based on the schedule, based on how the offense is playing at this exact time. Now, if he wanted to come to Chicago, which, again, I think he'll have better options out there realistically, would you want to sign him? Like, hey, a report's out there that OBJ is interested in the Bears. Would you be interested in him? Type S for sign or P for pass. I'd be interested if he is, but again, I don't think it'll happen. How about Ndamukong Suh, which I am pretty shocked that he has not been with the team at any point this season. This was a guy that we talked about in the offseason some as a player who's had back-to-back 6-sack seasons. I mean, 12 sacks over the last 2 years. I know he's 35-36, but he's still a productive player, and I know at times he's had character concerns and, has been labeled a dirty player and stuff, but what do we know for sure? This defensive line has struggled all year. I mean, there's no getting around that. I mean, we saw what happened in the Dallas game. They just absolutely ran past Chicago, and that starts up front. Outside of Justin Jones, I mean, you don't have a guy on that front that has been very productive. So, he's a vet. He knows the NFC North. Again, he's probably in that OBJ category of where he would only sign with the contender, but if you want a guy that can help out your front four, he could certainly do just that. Now, football season, like I mentioned, halfway done. You don't want to be halfway shaved because then you get frisky with your girl, and she's like, what the hell is going on down there? Give yourself a nice, clean shave downstairs consistently with Manscaped, the Lawnmower 4.0 here. You can get it for 20% off plus free shipping with promo code BEARS20. Listen, advanced skincare technology, it's going to limit those cuts and those burns when you shave downstairs. I never liked doing it before, but I'm always comfortable doing it with Manscaped. 4 adjustable guards come with this product if you want to leave, a different layer, a level of layer there downstairs if you're not a full clean-shaven guy, that's cool as well. Waterproof charging station. You can use it in the shower, all that good stuff. Manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. Go check it out. They've got great products all over their website. All right, let's get to a linebacker here because Roquan Smith is obviously no longer in the picture. How about Dont'a Hightower? Dont'a Hightower, who has played for a long time, about a decade in the league, has done some good things with the New England Patriots, and now with Roquan out of the mix after he got traded to the Baltimore Ravens, sure, you got A.J. Klein back, but is he going to give you a lot? I don't know. We'll see if he brings anything to the table. At least he's a depth piece. You could certainly use more. The Bears are clearly going to miss Roquan, and I don't think anybody that's available in free agency is going to come close to replacing him, but there are at least a few vet names out there where you're like, okay, maybe he could help a little bit, right? He could, give you some production, knows how to play the position, because right now, I'd have to go look at the other 31 teams, but I would dare say that the Bears linebacker unit could be the worst in the league. Dont'a Hightower, as recently as last year, was solid. I mean, he's not high-level starter anymore, but like a fringe starter, 64 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, had a breakup, especially against the run. He can still be somewhat impactful. I am also surprised that he has not been with the team at some point this season. Now, do the Bears need to sign a linebacker after losing Roquan? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Certainly couldn't hurt. Now, I'm all for giving some of these young guys opportunities, but having a vet in there just for that experience could be valuable as well. How about Jarrad Davis, who spent last season with the Jets, didn't play that well his first 4 years with Detroit in the NFC North, so he knows this division at least somewhat well. You plug him into this unit, at least he's a guy with some experience as well. I mean, you're going to go Nick Morrow, Jack Sanborn, Joe Thomas. That's probably what we're going to be looking at. Matt Adams on IR right now. A.J. Klein might get some runs. Sterling Weatherford has strictly played on special teams. We'll see if he gets an opportunity. Davis has had an okay career. I mean, his first 4 years before last year with Detroit, he racked up some numbers. 10.5 sacks, including 6 in his second season. 7 forced fumbles, over 300 tackles in 5 years. That's not nothing. Those aren't completely empty stats. I mentioned he knows the division as well, so I could get behind bringing in a guy like Jarrad Davis who knows the division. He's a decent tackler. Again, free agents that are available at this time of year, you're not finding him at 8 gyms. The Odell Beckham's the closest to that, and that's just because he's coming off of a major injury. Subscribe to Bears Now. We'll take a look at some more free agent targets in a moment. If you want the best Bears news, rumors, analysis here on YouTube, we are the channel for you. We're closing in on 55,000 subscribers. Can we get there before kickoff on Sunday? Trying to beat Dolphins today, and more new subscribers this week as we face the Dolphins at Soldier Field. So subscribe right now and join the movement here at Chicago Bears Now. All right, 5 more players here. Will Fuller, the wide receiver. What do we make of Will Fuller at this point, right? Like, he's still available. He can run vertically, but unless you think he's clearly an upgrade over guys like Dante Pettis and Byron Pringle, I don't actually even know if it makes sense at this point. Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, and N'Keal Harry are guys that I want to see play the rest of the year. Equanimous St. Brown has earned a role. Sure, Velus Jones has struggled as a pass catcher, but he still has a role as a jet sweep guy. Dante Pettis or Will Fuller? Pettis has at least had some moments. Pringle's been hurt, but you signed him for a reason. I am surprised Fuller's still out there, but, I mean, now that you've added Claypool and that N'Keal Harry has emerged a bit, like, where would Fuller even fit into this thing? So I don't think he's a realistic option at this point in time, but did want to mention him because we talked about him a lot in the offseason, and he does remain unsigned. Sheldon Richardson, this is a guy that I would have some interest in because, again, this defensive line has not been great, and if you can get more bodies in there to rotate in and see who gives you the best looks, I am all here for that. His last 4 years still had some productive seasons, 2 4.5 sack seasons there, even 2.5 and 3 in the other 2 years as an interior defensive lineman is not bad whatsoever. 125 career starts. This is a very experienced NFL player, so I do get surprised when certain players remain unsigned, but there could be a lot of reasons for that. He's older, maybe he wants bigger money than the market suggests, and he said, I'd rather not play football than play for the vet minimum or something like that. But I do wonder if some of these vets might latch onto a team late in the year to try and, make a little money and for certain teams make a playoff push. What is the biggest need on the Bears roster right now? I think if I had to pick one biggest need for this team this year, I think it's defensive line. Even though as bad as your linebackers are, that's a less valuable position. I would go defensive line. Certainly O-line and receiver still need some work long term, but I think you can get by the rest of the season with what you have now. But let me know what you guys think biggest need on the roster. Let's go back to linebacker, which is certainly a need. Anthony Hitchens, who maybe he's just done. I don't know what his future looks like. His career could be over at this point. Maybe he's kind of a halfway retired guy, it seems like. But he visited during free agency. Him and Matt Eberflus go back because Flus coached him in Dallas when he was the Cowboys linebackers coach. Anthony Hitchens ended up signing with the Chiefs. Ryan Poles has that connection as well. Even last year, he certainly had lost a step, but he still had 80 tackles, still started, I think, 12 or 13 games for Kansas City. Now, he doesn't give you much in coverage, but as a third down run stuffer or something like that, he's a leader. He was a team captain. I think there's value there. There's personal connection, but maybe he's just done. I mean, typically when guys visit and they don't sign, that's not a good sign for the player. Maybe Flus and his staff just kind of were like, yeah, he just doesn't have it anymore. How about Eric Ebron, the tight end, who's certainly had some big years as well? He's kind of had an up-and-down career, but at one point was a very good red zone target. And you look at the Bears tight end depth chart, and I think Chicago's been pretty disappointed with the depth, right? I mean, Ryan Griffin was brought in here to be a upside tight end 2, a vet that's done some good things. He's fallen to tight end 3 because Trevon Wesco is, a much better blocker, but he doesn't catch much. Cole Kmet's starting to play better. He's improved as a blocker quite a bit, and I think we'll see him get more and more involved the rest of the season. But the tight end spot has not been great. I thought this would be at least one of your, middle of the pack positions. I would say it's been bottom half group for this roster this year. I like how Kmet's trending, got a touchdown last week, but Eric Ebron as a pass catcher certainly would be at least your second best option behind Kmet, if not, kind of a 1B guy there. Daryl Williams, last name here. We talked about him a lot too. He's kind of in that category of, I'm really surprised he's not available. He can play most positions on the offensive line except for center. He's mostly a right guard or right tackle. Riley Reif in there right now with Larry Borum dealing with the concussion issue. But Tevin Jenkins popped up on the injury report with the back issue. We know he's had injury problems in the past. If you just want a kind of a safety net, a guy who can play guard and tackle, Daryl Williams certainly fits the bill. Now, again, I'll throw him into that category of he'd probably rather be guaranteed a starting job and play for a contending team, and I get all that, but I do think he's got valuable versatility that a team like the Bears could possibly be interested in on their offensive line. All right, so there you go. 10 players that are out there. Name a player the Bears should sign for this season out in free agency. I'm curious who you guys have in mind. Maybe there's some names I'm not thinking of. Let me know what you guys think. All right, subscribe to the channel. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. We will have videos on Friday and Saturday leading you up to kickoff on Sunday when the Chicago Bears play host to the Miami Dolphins at Soldier Field. So be sure to subscribe, check out our content leading up to then, and, of course, join us for our watch party on Sunday. I'm Harrison Graham. We'll see you soon here on Bears Now.